Alright, welcome back. So first thing we're going to do in here is just activate that power station so the electrical engineer can get to work on that. Now since we deleted the algae oxidizer there from the side of the base, it's become a bit stale, so we'll just move that one over a bit into a more central location. Just trying to connect up a bit to the base here. And let's get digging, let's get out there into the scary world. Now, one of the first rules in this game that I've discovered, always approach gases from the top. What this will mean is that if you pop open, say, chlorine pocket like we're doing here, chlorine always travels down, it's heavier than oxygen, so it won't flow back up into your colony most of the time. And if you happen to pop open a hydrogen, you want to be entering that one from the top, because then the hydrogen will flow upwards as we would desire it to do. Just handing out some promotions to everybody. Catalina's almost there. And we'll just queue up another research, the algae distillery. So as you can see here, as we dig further, more of the chlorine's trying to travel downwards as opposed to coming back up through our base, but we've put that safety pressurized airlock in there just to make sure that chlorine stays out rather than having to pump it out manually, which is kind of a pain. Putting in a connector there for the heavy watt wire to come through the wall. We'll be building some pretty heavy industry in this part of the map. We're going to start to look to move all of our real heat creating items and all of our germ creating things out here rather than having it in our colony. And one thing we definitely need to look at is to get an oxygen production out here. With the caustic biome, there is absolutely no oxygen. You have a choice of non-breathable chlorine gas or non-breathable hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas is preferable, but neither of them are breathable. So I mean, stints in at the caustic biome are pretty short until you can organise some oxygen out there. Or they'll just end up holding their breath right now like Nisbet is there. Just rerouting the wires here. Our power network's become a bit all over the place here. We've actually got two separate transformer networks connected up here, which is never good. That'll start causing wire overloads. Luckily we've noticed it before that actually began happening. And we can promote Catalina up to electrical engineer. She can start tuning up those cold generators. So there she goes now, creating a microchip on that power station. So we're just going to queue up the decontamination research to get a hold of the oxygen purifiers. What they do is convert oxygen from polluted oxygen into fresh oxygen. Very handy to have these things, at least one of these things in a room that's going to be filling up with polluted oxygen, like your polluted water tank does create some polluted oxygen there. Good to strip that out before anyone gets sick from it, as the polluted oxygen carries the germs. So we'll be dropping the algae distiller in here. Now we'll be putting this one on the outside of the base, because this building handles some of the nastiest compounds in the game, being slime, which is just always contaminated with slime lung. And what that does is it converts slime into algae, which we can then convert into oxygen. Just looking to strip back this whole area here. We're going to be building a lot of industry out here. Plus we also want to utilise this hydrogen and get it up to our pump, and get it pumped into our hydrogen generator. It's free power after all. Plus there's also an abundance of coal in the caustic biomes, so good to get collecting that up while we still don't have our ranch hatchery going there. Just looking to get some more oxygen going out here. Once we've got a better airflow out here, we'll be able to stay out here longer term. Each one of the duplicants at the moment is just holding their breath while they're doing some work. Not optimal in the slightest. That's our oxygen deoxidizer research. So what we'll look to get next is the natural gas generator. We'll be using these shortly. Just going to drop a oxygen purifier there next to the algae machine. It does spray out some polluted oxygen every now and then because of the slime stored in it. So hopefully we'll be able to catch most of that. What we'll actually look to do is encase this area in walls and a airlock, and also a hand basin to prevent any kind of disease spread, making our duplicants wash their hands every time they come in and out of the room, and otherwise it'll be pressurized. Just looking to see if we can take on another duplicant here, if any of them are worth it. Turner there. Yeah, he's narcoleptic, but he'll do. So for now, we're going to make him our plumber. Now, one of the bonuses about plumbers is they can destroy pipes even if they're filled with water and the water doesn't spill out. It just gets placed next to the damaged pipe in a jug. Which is fantastic. It means you don't have to clean up the mess. Plus they get a cool hat. It's the little guy there with a blue hat. So we've unlocked the ore scrubber. We'll basically never use that. Disease really isn't an issue. What we'll do is we'll just put a storage bin there for algae, slime, and also replace our compost heap that we deleted in the last episode. So since the air is separated here enough, you can see you've got the hydrogen separated on top, a thin layer of oxygen between them that's come through our airlock, and then all the chlorine below. We can actually open up that door. That'll let all the hydrogen flood into our base up to our pump, and we'll burn it off. And what that'll do is largely leave a vacuum behind the oxygen will just flow into. And we'll additionally get some oxygen pumps going here to really just oxygenate this area. To open up this pocket as well, it's all hydrogen. This is just free energy. Burn it off. Plus we'll need the space. Almost got that oxygen production up. Okay, now we've got some oxygen pumping out here. We'll drop a hand basin just to make sure our duplicants clean themselves after handling the slime. So you can see here that blue oxygen cloud is starting to push that chlorine all straight down away from our base, which is exactly what we want. Additionally, it's going to shovel the hydrogen up into our base, also what we want. So now we're just going to get to work on building our infrastructure in here. Okay, our natural gas generator just finished. Also gives us access to the oil refinery, which will be going out here as well. So what we'll be doing with this big trough here is actually we'll be putting our polluted water in there, and eventually what we'll look to do is phase out our polluted water here in our main base. As it currently stands, it is right below our living quarters, so we've basically got a sewage septic tank right below where people sleep. Sounds absolutely fantastic and not like a health hazard at all. Much better to have it out here. Plus it also makes room for us to install bigger dormitories, which we'll come to later. So just connecting up the wastewater pipe here. So what will happen is the excess water, the wastewater from the algae distiller, is going to pump out along with the wastewater from the hand basin. Now all of that will just be dumped out into that trough there. Now that we've got all the chlorine out of that space, we're going to enclose this, and we'll look to put a door on there as well, and that'll make it airtight, keep all the germs in. While the duplicants are asleep, we're going to look to lay down the plans for our industry here. So that's our oil refinery petroleum generator. Fertilizer synthesizer for our farmers. Now we're going to look to enclose these in a pressurized room as well with an airlock. Because both of these buildings output natural gas. Now we're going to run that natural gas off, not unlike the hydrogen, and put it to some good use. Now we're going to put the door at the top of the building, or towards the top, because natural gas settles down. It is heavier than oxygen, rather than having the door at the bottom and then you open the door and it all just floods out at the ankle level. This way it's all trapped down with the pump, which is also why we use mesh in there for the buildings to be created on, so that the air can just freely flow to the bottom where the pump is. So I'm just going to put down some more mesh shelving here. Our natural gas generators are going to be put on top of them. Now what they do is they output polluted water, but they don't have an output, like a water pump output. They actually just drip it straight from where they're built. So that what they're going to do is they're going to drip it on the mesh. It's going to go straight through and fall down into that polluted water tank. Now these U-shaped cavities we got here with the ladders, eventually what we'll be putting in there is some plastic polymer presses. And that'll be where we start developing all our plastics. And the rooms are designed that way for a specific purpose, which will become more obvious later. Now this mound of rock here to the left has actually got a volcano underneath it. We'll be leaving that alone for now. It's quite dangerous. We'll just leave it corked. So I'm just going to delete this here to put a door in there to pressurize that. Excellent. All those germs will be locked in tight. No one will be getting sick. So we're just going to put a couple of little mesh shelves here and put some deodorizers on there. Again, what they'll do is just convert polluted oxygen over to normal oxygen. It's good to have them there with the polluted water because they occasionally create polluted oxygen. Hopefully catch most of it before it comes out and infects the air. Also just installing a fireman's pole. This area is going to see a lot of traffic. May as well speed things up a bit. Ladder's a bit slow. Now we have it, the algae distiller's online. So we're just going to actually strip away a bit of this slime in the base. And queue up another research. We'll go with, and there's the insulated blocks. We'll go with the Atmosuit creator, the exosuits. Those insulated blocks we may use later to insulate the volcano there on the left of screen. But we'll be tackling that in a later episode. Definitely not going to happen with this one. We may not even use the volcano at all. It produces large amounts of pure iron. We already have the facilities in place to do that with our metal refinery without having to deal with the added problem of the heat and fire. So I just started pumping polluted water through just a little bit too soon here. Haven't finished the trough. There we go, we've got that all sealed up. Just got to mop up the excess water here that we've made. Bit of an oversight on my part there, but we've cleaned it up. So what we're going to do here is look to dig into the iron deposit. And we're going to look to switch over to iron as our primary resource. Originally we've started using copper. Now what was originally the most abundant metal being copper there is actually one of the rarest in the game because there is only one temperate biome. It's the one you start in. Whereas there are dozens of caustic and swamp biomes all around your base. So things like sandstone, sand, copper originally start out quite abundant, quite easily accessible, but quickly you blow through them and all of a sudden there is no way to replace them. That temperate biome that you start with, that's it. Now there is certain refineries that you can use to build, create granulator there, the kiln. We're not really going to be utilising these. We'll just switch over and start using, say, iron and igneous rock instead of sandstone. This is far more commonplace in the world overall. So having a quick look at the germ overlay. You can see there we've dug up that slime. Still got a few infected blocks there. We'll bring them over and get them all sorted out with our distiller. So all that hydrogen, since we moved into the caustic biome there, is really starting to bank up. We're getting pretty fantastic value out of that thing. And almost all of it's drained out of here now in our industry sector. You can see there's very little hydrogen left. It's all a bit oxygenated. Excellent, so now we're into that iron ore. Additionally, what we'll look to do in there is pop up in that hydrogen vent, get that moving on up as well. Hydrogen's definitely the best gas in this game, other than obviously oxygen. So we'll look to just hand out promotions as people are eligible at this point. Our food source seems to be, well, it's okay. Our gristleberry seems to be just holding steady. We've got a fair excess of lice loaf there on the top right of screen. Got a bit of a breakdown of our calories. Okay, so what we'll look to do just quickly is break open this section, get out into the next biome, which is a slime biome. What this will also allow is for all of that built up chlorine to flood out. So what you see here is the carbon dioxide has only got about 33 grams per square. Usually at a decent density it's over 1,000, sometimes 2,000, so it's not dense at all. What will happen is the chlorine will flood into there because there's a lot of space for it. Just having a quick look at all our options. We'll get the upgraded wiring. Doesn't make the electricity run any better, but it does. It lessens the decor impact of wires, which is nice. Okay, and there goes all that chlorine flooding out into the swamp biome. I mean, worst case scenario, the chlorine just flies away and it's not our problem. Best case scenario, it might purify some of the diseases out there. Either way, really no reason not to let it go that way. Okay, just have a looking at our duplicates. What we'll be looking for is a builder of sorts. Now this guy's got great construction, Nicola there. He's going to become our general architect. Definitely need to look at getting some more dormitories added now that we've hit 11 duplicates. We'll definitely be stopping at 12. We've got almost every role covered at this point. May look to add in a third miner. Maybe another gopher if we get the right duplicate. Okay, and that brings us to the end of cycle 30. Excellent, so this is our first foray outside of the temperate biome into the caustics. We've got a solid infrastructure there built up. We'll head down this way next into the swamp biome, looking for oil, for crude oil. But we've done well, no one died today. That's the main thing.